Hi guys. I am in the very center of Mount Pleasant State Forest. I am in the heart of black bear country. Wanted to talk to you guys about hiking safety. And I wanted to talk about hiking alone. Now, I am way out in the middle of the state forest. I drove in on just a little 2-track road. That was a little hairy getting in here. I don't recommend going off-roading with a minivan, but I took it slow and easy. And I wanted to talk about some things that I take with me hiking. But I also wanted to talk about the dangers of hiking alone. Now, shortly after I got here, a group of middle-aged men hiking together came through and continued on the Fred J. Cusimano Trail. And there was about 5 of them, and they were all hiking together. And that's the way you want to do it. You want to hike in a small group or even a large group. You want to go with friends, maybe family, other hiking members if you belong to a hike group like I do. But not all hike groups are going to hike a lot of trails that you want to hike, and it's hard for me to get people to hike with me, so I do my hiking alone, but I am aware of the dangers of hiking by myself. The risk of hiking alone is, number one, wildlife, and it can also be a wild dog. A lot of people just about everywhere in the United States dump off unwanted dogs, large dogs, and some of those dogs can become dangerous when they become hungry. And you can literally be attacked by a house dog while out in the middle of the woods. Black bear are a very, very big concern where I live here in Western New York and where I go in Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania. And black bear can be extremely dangerous, and they're the most underestimated animal, I believe, in North America. And what I recommend that if you're going to be hiking alone, the things that I recommend is having protection. Now, some people may carry a pistol, have a permit to carry, concealed weapon. That's great. But if you don't, and you're like me, and you don't have a gun permit or even own a firearm, I take a large knife with me. Now, would I want to have a one-on-one battle with a black bear just using a large knife? Absolutely not. But would I be glad that I had it if I needed it? Absolutely. So having a good-sized knife with you on your belt, at the ready, not in your backpack. You want your self-defense things to be at the ready to where you can grab them at a moment's notice. So you want something like this mounted on your belt. A large hunting knife is a must, as well as bear spray. You want to make sure that you get yourself a good quality. Don't skimp on this. This can right here was $40 by UDAP bear spray. This shoots up to 30 feet, very powerful pepper spray. You want to make sure that you have a can of this, because you encounter a black bear, this is going to be one thing that is going to for sure deter the black bear. And it comes in a sheath to where you can put it on your belt. See there? So you carry that on your belt and you have it to where you can pull this out, disengage this safety clip, and then you're ready to spray the bear. You can even spray this right from your hip if you need to. So bear spray is a must when you're hiking alone. One of the most important things to have anytime you're alone in the woods, doesn't matter if you're hiking, camping, fishing, or what, and that is to have a very good quality whistle. This is a certified coach's whistle, and it's all stainless steel. You do not want those cheap plastic ones, and the reason why you don't want those cheap plastic ones is because a lot of them don't have the ball inside. This has got the little rubber ball inside, okay? A metal whistle is going to have a much higher decimal on it than a plastic whistle. The pitch of the decimal is much, much higher. And this is something that will definitely get a bear's attention and even scare a bear off. Now, when it comes to black bear, a lot of people say, well, black bear, are going to just run away. They're going to see you and they're going to just run off. That's not true. That's not what always happens. I've had 3 large black bear encounters while camping in the woods, and the bear would not go away. It would not scare off. It would not go away. It did not care that if there were humans in the area, they were like acclimated to people. It didn't matter. So if you encounter a black bear on a trail while hiking and it's interested in you and it's not going away and not scaring off and not running off into the woods, you now have a serious problem, especially if it is a male black bear that is predatorial. A predatorial bear is going to be interested in hunting you. It's not going to run off and leave you alone. It's seeing you as a meal. A predatory male black bear is the most dangerous black bear in all of North America. People think that the mama bear with the cubs is the most dangerous. That's not true. It's the male black bears. More humans are killed by male black bears than female black bears with cubs. That's a fact. And more people are killed by black bear in North America than any other species. Black bear, when they attack to kill and eat. That's not going to wander off like a grizzly will after it attacks you and gives you a chance to escape. Black bear do not do that. Black bear are definitely far more dangerous than a grizzly. A lot of people don't know that. Always make sure you got a cell phone with you, and always check from time to time to make sure that you're getting a good strong signal, or at least one bar on your phone to where you could dial 911 if you need to. And not only do you want to have a cell phone, but you want to make sure that you've got a small charger, lithium charger with you to charge your cell phone, and make sure that, like with this rubber band, that you've got a USB cord attached right to it so you're not fumbling for it in your pack. And keep these items together, your phone and your phone charger, and make sure that it is fully charged. If you can see the blue lights in there, I don't know if that's showing up, but it's fully charged. So I've got my USB, my charger, and my cell phone. That's very important. Another thing that's important to keep with you is I've got my notes written down here, is to make sure that you've got a pad and a Sharpie marker. The reason why you want to have some paper and a Sharpie marker with you is because if something happens to where you're lost or somebody's going to come looking for you, you can leave a note somewhere if you're not staying in the very area of where you end up lost. If you decide you're going to wander off and try to make your way out, which is a bad idea, but some people do that, you always want to make sure that you've got some means to let people know which way you're heading, who you are, the fact that you are lost, and put down emergency contact information and stuff like that. So it's always good to have a means to write, because you never know when you're going to have to leave a note for something. It's very important. And of course, always make sure that you're fully stocked in water and that you got a filtration system to where you can get water if you run low out of a stream or a pond, or even just a stagnant creek bed, to where you can filter the water. Or if you got a small cook set, you could boil it. It will take longer, and then when it cools down you could refill your bottle. But it's very crucial that you stay hydrated and to make sure you have plenty of snacks with you, and take extra snacks, because sometimes you can end up staying a lot longer in the woods than you anticipated. And that's what I'm going to talk about next. A lot of people don't realize that there's a lot of things that can go wrong when you're out in the great outdoors in the woods. And you may start out hiking in the morning and plan to hike all day long on a beautiful sunny day like this in the middle of September. But the thing is if you become injured and you can't get out of the woods quite as fast as you went in, that means time is going to pass much faster than you think, and it could end up getting dark before you get out of the woods. So even though it's broad daylight, you always want to make sure that in your pack, somewhere in your pack, that you have a light source, whether it be a small, compact, very good flashlight. I recommend a flashlight that is at least 1,000 lumens. 1,000 on up. If it's lower than that, you're really not going to get much light. But inside of this gasketed little plastic container that you can get like at Aldi's or Walmart, a lot of different stores sell these, my headlamp fits compactly right in it, very nice, and I've got a spare battery. I keep my headlamp in here, and what's great about this specific type of headlamp by Nitecore, it's the HC60. And the reason why I like a little more pricier headlamp than the cheap ones is because this one is rechargeable, to where I can plug this thing right in and I can charge it with the same charger for the cell phone. So if you have to be out in the woods all night long and under 1,000 lumens, you're using the brightest setting of this, and say if the 18650 battery went dead, you've got a way to charge it back up, just in case you might be spending 2 nights out in the woods. You want to make sure that you've got a means to charge your headlamp. And if your headlamp don't charge like this with a USB, make sure you carry extra batteries for your headlamp. It's very important to always be prepared for night. Even if you don't plan on being in the woods come nighttime or at sundown, you end up getting injured in the woods, having a sprained ankle, a broken leg. There's all kinds of different injuries you could sustain while out on the trail, and you end up staying in the woods much longer than you anticipated, and it starts to get dark. You are definitely going to need a light source. Another thing to have in your backpack if you're hiking alone is a means to start a fire. I like these little gasketed containers because it keeps everything all together. And I've got dryer lint in here, I've got matches, I got a ferro rod in here, a flint striker, so matches that are in waterproof containers, plus it's in this little container here, so have a means to be able to start a fire to stay warm. If the nights are turning colder like they are now here in western New York. Last night we had a frost. It got down into the 30s last night. It's also important to have cordage with you, different types of cordage. Now, I know a lot of backpackers don't like to carry a lot of stuff with them, but I'll tell you what, you're going to definitely want survival stuff in your backpack. Even if it gives you a couple extra pounds, it is crucial, because when you need it, you're going to wish you had it if you need it. And it's very, very important. You know, you can skimp on other things, but I don't recommend that you skimp on the things that I'm showing you in this video, because if you don't carry stuff like this, you could end up in dire straits if anything goes wrong while on the trail. Also, these containers work good for snacks with the gasketed lid. They come in all kinds of sizes. You could have trail mix in here, you could have salted peanuts, you could have whatever type of snack you like. But what's nice about these containers is that after it's empty, here at the end of the season now, there's still ripe blackberries and raspberries, and if you run out of food, you could always collect berries in a container like this and then put the lid on and save the berries for later. Conserve your food, conserve your energy, because if you run out of snacks and you end up staying in the woods overnight, you're going to need to look for food in the woods to sustain yourself. It's also recommended that you carry a small first aid kit. You want to make sure that you've got bandages, that you've got stuff for different stings and bites and stuff like that. You could also keep it in a case like this. Make up a small first aid kit in a box, no bigger than this, okay, with the gasketed lid. I have several of them, and I make first aid kits in these just like I do for my fire starter, and that's what you want to have with you. Because out on the trail, there's all kinds of things to worry about. I just wrote down some of the things, and the things that could bring harm to you or possibly take your life is wildlife. Very dangerous wildlife. You get attacked in the woods and you're alone. There's nobody to get help for you. You are on your own. Every decision you make is your own. You could have injury from joints, feet, legs, and head. You could trip. You could maybe hike in much further than you thought you could. Maybe you didn't have any problem hiking into the woods 10 miles, but you're not really physically fit enough to hike 20 miles, and now you can't make it back out of the woods. So be aware of your limitations and know how far in the woods you can hike and what kind of health and condition you're in. You could suffer a medical emergency, stroke, a heart attack, something like that. If you have a medical emergency and you're on your own and you don't have cell service, well, you're on your own. There's, you know, if you hike with other hikers, at least somebody else that's with you can hike out of the woods and go get you help if there's no cell service. They can reach help and have rescuers come to get you out of the woods. But if you're by yourself, that's what's one of the things that's most dangerous about hiking alone, is that anything happens to you, there's nobody else around to help you unless another hiker happens to stumble across you. You could have an accident, a fall, or you could trip and hit your head, knocking you unconscious. That's very possible while in the woods. You could have an illness such as dehydration or heat stroke, which is extremely dangerous. So make sure that you take enough with you. But if you get ill in the woods, you got to hope that you're well enough to get yourself back out of the woods to safety. You could be assaulted by someone else on the trail. People can be more dangerous than even animals. And you run across the wrong person, and it could be a matter of life or death depending on what they intend to do to you. And then with no cell service, phone doesn't work, dead battery. We talked about charging and having a means to charge your phone. You could get lost. Make sure that you have like a bright vest with you. I've got this vest here. that I carry. You get lost in the woods and you want to wear something that is high visibility. This is like a construction worker's vest, bright orange, yellow, and it's got the reflective material on it. This is something that you also should keep in your backpack when you're hiking alone, because if you get lost in the woods, rescue teams are going to be looking for anything that is visible from a distance, and this can be seen from far, far away. So make sure you have something like that in your backpack. Very, very important. If you have a locator beacon, they can be expensive, but they're well worth it, because you got to think about what is your life worth, and then they can locate you through GPS. So those are just some of the things that are very important. And one last thing I wanted to mention in this video is that, like I said before, if you end up staying overnight in the woods when you didn't anticipate doing so, make sure that you carry extra clothing. Carry an extra jacket, like a fleece jacket, something that will keep you warm at night when the temperatures drop if you end up staying overnight in the woods. Because if you don't have what you need in the woods and you're staying overnight due to an injury, you're going to be extremely miserable from the bugs and the temperature. You want to have rain gear and warm clothing. Like last night, it got down to in the 30s, but today it's in the mid 50s. So it may be warm enough to hike today, but tonight would be cold enough to where you'd need a jacket. So make sure that you carry the things in your backpack that you don't think you're going to need, but in an emergency, it's stuff you are going to need. So remember that. Be safe, know your limitations. Always, always let somebody know where you are and where you're going, so they know where to start looking for you if you don't make it back home. Always let somebody know when you're going to be somewhere and when you plan to be back. So with that said, I'm going to let you guys go. I hope you share this video with others, because I think it's important. These tips that I shared today, some of these things are what people don't think about, like just doing a day trip. It's very critical, so to keep you safe in the woods. So I'll be doing more videos soon, you guys, on camping and fishing, and I'm also going to be showing things in those videos as well. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys again. Bye-bye.